Rosen is at the White House to tell us about the president's return to the campaign trail, sort of. But we begin with Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel and another reason why these talks are so important. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. There are strong suggestions the nation's debt problem may be far worse than $16 trillion and counting, and some key lawmakers are saying it is time to slash spending.
I could cut $600 billion more out of the federal government tomorrow, and nobody'd know a difference except the people employed by the programs here in Washington, D.C.
When asked by Fox what he'd be willing to cut, the Senate Majority Leader didn't offer anything new.
Well, remember, we've already done more than $1 billion worth of cuts. We've already done that. So we need to get some credit for that in these negotiations that take place.
42 business organizations sent this letter to top lawmakers urging Congress not to increase taxes, writing, quote, "We strongly urge Congress to pursue comprehensive tax reform that lowers rates on all forms of business income while enacting significant entitlement reforms that put the federal budget on a sustainable fiscal path." Coburn says too much of the fiscal cliff debate has focused on increasing taxes when cuts and reform are needed.
You could take all the revenue and wouldn't solve the problem. So the real answer is we have a demographic shift that's coming into entitlement programs that have increased their benefits without increasing the taxes to pay for those entitlement programs. And they're bankrupt, essentially.
That is a key point made by two former congressmen, Chris Cox and Bill Archer, in a Wall Street Journal editorial, who wrote, quote, "The actual liabilities of the federal government, including Social Security, Medicare, and federal employees' future retirement benefits, already exceed $86.8 trillion, or 550% of GDP. The second-ranking Senate Democrat says he's for addressing entitlements, but not now.
Medicare and Medicaid insure about 1/3 of all Americans. They represent about 20% of our budget, and they are a real challenge to us because untouched, unamended, Medicare is going to run out of money in 12 years. That is scary.
Though as negotiations continue, Durbin does suggest Obamacare is on the table.
The only perfect law I know was carried down a mountain on stone tablets by Senator Moses. Everyone else has done their very best to write a good law, but realizes over time changes have to be made. I'm open to whatever elements we need to reconsider there, but I think we've got the right starting point.
Much of the anxiety in Washington seems to be over not knowing the details of the president and Speaker Boehner's negotiations. Lawmakers on both sides suggest that could be a good thing. They're talking to each other and not leaking. Brett?